Okay, welcome everybody. I'm here today with Canela Michelle Meyers, and we're going to be talking about the menstrual cycle. My name is Theodora. I'm an artist from Surrey, and I work a lot with the womb as a symbol and as a topic to focus on. So I often talk about how painting really instinctually has helped my menstrual cycle. But I also wanted to interview Canella and really show everyone her take because I feel like it's really helped me as well. It's been twofold. It is the art, but Canella's help has facilitated so much ease. So Canella is a spiritual teacher. She's hailing from Canada and she runs online satsangs and also immersions in person. Would you
hmm Yeah, okay,
would you
yes,
say
yeah,
that?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's lots.
Thank you, Theo. Yeah, and as we said, and as you might notice, we're going with the flow here, especially because we're talking about the menstrual cycle. And I want to add a little bit to your introduction of you, Theo, because people need to know that you run workshops um, that are like weekend workshops for people to really dive in in a more abstract way, in a more natural way of the moment, into their womb. So, hence we're on this because, of course, the womb is where the menstrual cycle begins and ends, right? Um, and I also wanted to add to my own that I'm also an author. You can find my books on Amazon in the UK, anywhere, and that if you probably know from her accent, but Theo is from Surrey in the UK because we have a Surrey here in Canada. So to me, it's irrelevant. um, it's quite close to where I live, actually. So um, the flow, yes, the naturalness. In 2005, um, I spoke at a conference here in at the University of British Columbia. It was put on by a group called the F Word, which is for feminisms. So they moved away from feminists to feminisms to not have it be, a push or, you know, similar topic, but not fighting things so much. And so I was invited to speak there. And my talk was on befriending your blood because it is such a wonderful, natural part of creation. It so literally, the menstrual cycle enables us to create another human being, feeds that child, and then eventually that, when we're no longer in that phase of the lifetime, that strength of creation comes back into the woman as a natural part of creation. Um, so I support people in these types of transitions. Um, anyway, you have any questions about that in specifics? Because the topic is so huge because nature is so huge. But yeah, how about a question would be good.
Well, I was thinking about the menstrual cycle, how you were describing it to me recently as the actual moon time when you're bleeding is a descent into the lower chakras, or particularly the root and I guess sacral chakra.
Yes.
So I thought it'd be really handy to firstly explain in your own words what the root chakra and sacral chakra are about and why it's that pull downwards.
hmm Yes. Okay. Well, I first noticed because I'd gone to some sweat lodges when I lived in eastern United States. Um, and if there was a medicine man, I found out that if a woman was on her moon time, in her flow, she wasn't allowed to come into the um, sweat lodge, into the lodge. And so I was struck by that because I've found it to be a powerful time. And, there's so much shame around it. It's unbelievable. But apparently, what I found out was that they don't want the power of women to be in the sweat lodge because then the medicine man um, isn't the one holding the power to where he wants to go, right? Because that's how strong it is. So of course they don't want, and plus they're going to Father Sky, not to Mama Earth. Even though it didn't make sense to me because we're in a sweat lodge is usually right down into the earth, and it's very much a womb. So um, anyway, I went to sweat lodges run by women, and we were certainly welcomed. And from that time, um, what I noticed in myself is if during my moon time, if I went down into Mama Earth and let her hold me a little more deeply, so slowing down in my life, less of the mind, less active, but instead you're actually using all of the chakras because you're using your wisdom and the higher self to come down into the earth because we're empowered by the higher self of ourselves, whatever each person calls that. And so to welcome it down into the first chakras, the first chakra being of the earth, the fabric of 3D in my uh, understanding, uh, where our physicality resides and the actual dirt of the earth and the smells and yum, all of that. The sacral is the sexual, the second chakra, which is about creation. And so these are areas where the womb resides, right? So creation of another human being, it makes sense that it would come together here and Mama Earth would hold us even more strongly um, through the menstrual cycle, preparing and readying that like I'm a twin, and my mom always jokes and says, "Oh, you were womb mates."
That's deep.
But it is a sanctuary for the sperm and the egg once fertilized to attach and be nurtured and grown. It's there until those sperm and the egg or eggs get together, um, or sperms. In my case, I was with a brother, so there were two sperms and two eggs that both attached. Um, and then that's there. It's the reception of and the availability to creation in our blood. That's what it represents. It's holy. And yet, at the same time, it's been so shamed up until now when it is such a beautiful opportunity to have it be honored. Firstly, by each woman to slow down, come closer to the earth, see if you can, do things from an inward place, or even take time off to be close to the earth and let yourself be slow. Let yourself be really quiet and sort of thick. It's a thicker resonance. The lower chakras are lower vibrations. So that's okay. It's to go with that and to nourish yourself at this time. And then it nourishes you at the same time. It's such a wonderful, magical opportunity.
Yeah, that was beautifully said. And
Mm.
I remember something came to me as you were speaking that I was doing this mindset work and it was all about thinking in a certain way and bringing in, expansion, but it was more just change your thoughts. But I was really premenstrual and I told you, oh, none of my mindset stuff's working. And you were like, good. Because you were saying it's a time to go deep into the body, slow down and surrender to that stuff that's happening in the lower chakras, which is more, as you say, it's slow, but there's this culture of high vibes only or um, yeah, positive vibes only, which is just one half of the equation, isn't it?
Well, in actual manifestation, we need to have all the chakras because manifestation means creating something in 3D.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this is the anchor, right? So the mindset opportunities, but then to bring them in and let yourself get sort of pregnant with that creative energy that's there waiting to create a child, another human being, we can use that time to create from there as if we're pregnant with our dreams, with what we would love, right? Just like a baby comes in, someone to love, take care of, and nourish.
And
Uh,
the moon time for me, it's like it's a release because it's the shedding of that blood, the potential for the baby. And so it seems like whatever's actually in the way of the manifestation,
yes,
that's when to release that and
yeah,
balance those parts of me.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
both. And but that slow pace of the energy to incubate as a time for manifesting, to go within
Mhm.
and be quietly with that. Um, but yes, the shedding for sure. And then, of course, there's the magic of the actual blood, and there's all sorts of rituals. And like I said, mentioned to you before, in a very natural area of California, Harbin Hot Springs is clothing optional. And I was so delighted to hear that they invited women to go and sit on the earth. And this might freak people out a little bit, but it's so nutritious. Obviously, if it's there to grow a baby, it's going to be fantastic for the earth to use as fertilizer, to go sit in the garden or on the grass and just let it flow right directly, without any underwear on, obviously. Um, and yeah, be one with Mama Nature. Um, it's a beautiful thing. Now, we've also talked of some rituals, right? When we think about the Mama Nature, um, there's so much to what animals naturally do in marking their territory, in um, right. And this is the blood is a symbol of creation, of the power of creation. Even though it's shed from the womb, it shows that there is this availability to create a human being while you have your menstrual cycle. So uh, we can use that in various ways to, put a little bit on your third eye. This is so natural. It's not bad. It's good. And that's why this befriending it, finding your way to relax into and become more natural, um, and inclusive. There's so much shame involved in this that we're supposed to hide it, that we're shunned, really, like in the sweat lodge, to be included. That you know, often in relationship, I've heard of people on their moon time that the man doesn't even want them to be around. Uh, you know, thankfully, I've not been with men uh, that are like that, tending to more natural, inclusive. Not that there's, everything's naturally occurring and in agreement with partners in what can happen or what's not okay. I mean, there's still, you know, it is blood and it does stain. So there's still care to be taken.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying the other day as well that I I sometimes water my plants with the blood, and I watered three plants that weren't, they didn't have any flowers, and one of them I'd never even seen flowers on, but they started flowering that month after I'd fed them with the blood, because the blood has the same proportions of nitrogen and other things as fertilizer, and um, many other things. I mean, it also has stem cells. I don't know if you read about that, but they're just starting to do more research with the stem cells in the blood instead
Mm.
of getting them from bone marrow, which is so much more um, tricky to get out of the bones, with bone marrow transplants. And the same thing is in menstrual blood, which is coming out of women at all times. Or
And
so,
I believe I didn't know that about the menstrual blood, but I'm pretty sure I've heard it about the placenta.
Yeah.
That this can be a very valuable thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what I like to invite mostly is women to become more natural, to recognize that it's a natural thing that all animals, I think, all mammals have a menstrual cycle. The female.
Um,
Um, I
I
don't know
I
about
don't know
birds,
if it's,
but yeah,
yeah. I think
but
we're
the
actually
mammals.
quite unique in our menstrual cycle, especially the monthly aspect of it is quite unique to humans.
Well,
Um,
I think it's all unique, but definitely dogs and cats go into heat,
yes. Yeah.
and right, so it's uh, a similar time. It's how we go into heat, if you will. That it's a I mean, right before is probably not well. I don't know anyway. Maybe we'll take.
Yeah, no,
I don't know enough about that.
yeah, neither. But it is natural and
Yep, yep. And
and
for people too, when they're watering their plants or using it in the garden, to dilute it with water,
yeah.
and to also be aware that animals, because it's natural, right, can be attracted and to yeah, let it be, that the plant drinks it up for a little bit first and keep the plant away from our pets. Mm.
I was just going to ask about the rest of the menstrual cycle as well, because one thing I've been hearing from women is that now that they have this culture of resting on their moon time, it's actually an easier phase for them. And they're now, well, a few women have said to me they struggle more with ovulation. And I was wondering your take on the spiritual meaning of that, what happens with our energy at ovulation. I definitely feel hyper a lot of the time at ovulation and go into, especially if I'm doing something I love, I just really go into it. But yeah, there is that rise in energy. But yeah, what would you
Hmm.
say?
Um, I actually do support women in pregnancy to become pregnant, and so it's so individual. I don't, there's so many sort of statements and stuff that people make about these times, but it's so unique to each woman, of what it is and what it, you know, in a way, um, as there's been much more of a meeting between the masculine and feminine within ourselves, then there's been less of an actual allowance of either our own feminine or our own masculine in and of itself. Um, and so there can be a collective uncertainty of, will I lose power if I just become a mother? Like, because even being a mother isn't so welcomed or honored. Like when I became a mother, I could not believe that we don't honor mothers. I couldn't believe it. Going through pregnancy and the labor and the birth and everything, I was astonished that this isn't something that's more deeply celebrated. It's just not collectively. And so that sort of, that women need to be as successful in ways that look, whatever success is to people, where I invite people to look at success of feeling happy and joyful and grounded, that there's more than enough money. And if it's somebody's dream to have, you know, multi-million dollars or whatever, if it serves some purpose to their values, then sure. Um, but it's not necessary, but it's not shunned either. There's no rule around what success looks like. But success feels like something. It's honoring this lifetime and what we've been given. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that, I'm not sure if that answers your question or not.
Yeah, you were making a link between, I suppose, like our ability to become pregnant and that potential of motherhood at ovulation. I was kind of thinking of just how our energy is at a heightened kind of more outward place, or that's how I experience it. But to link it to that potential to motherhood and creation and maybe what we're creating and how that's valued by us and in the world, that's a really interesting link.
Hmm. Yeah, because collectively it's well, and also like you say, during an ovulation time, if the energy is coming out, because it's natural looking for the mate, right? It can be, however, um, because of that ovulation time, again, it can be used as something, but it's to include. So just to bring that energy into the system. If there's an outward, that outward call can be in you. It doesn't have to be out there. When it goes out there, that costs you energy. That puts some, and it's natural. It's not to say that you're doing this. You'll do this will happen subconsciously, and then you get to be conscious of it and respond to it being out, and then just bring it in so it resides at the back of your what appears here as you, this person, and have the calling come from inside, because from there it's effortless.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yes, I feel like that's going to really resonate with people. And
Hmm.
I wonder if you could just explain the calling from the inside versus outside, just to be really clear. It's like when maybe
Yes.
there's a demand from outside, or is that what you mean?
Well, the training usually of human collective up until now, most of it, is that we're taught to be field dependent, out in the field, that which appears outside of us. We're, listen to me. Don't be like this. Don't be like that. Oh, you know, that's just like your uncle so and so when it's good, or it's just like your auntie so and so, or oh, you got all those good talents from your mother or from your father, or, you know, everything's outside of you. And so that's okay. That's happened before. Like, we're not going to change that except for each individual person. When you find it out there, there's a tippy feeling. It's what people often call, um, what's the word?
Overextending?
Overextending, or they feel
Overwhelmed?
um, too much.
Overwhelmed?
Overwhelmed. Exactly. They feel overwhelmed. If there's overwhelmed, definitely the person's energy is going to be out with whatever's going to happen in the holiday season, right? Because that's what we're in right now. Or any kind of event that's going to come, a workshop or anything. And also whatever happened in the past can be there looming, calling. And the whole thing then, our attention and our awareness is away from the particles and the space that we've been given as creation, this part of creation that each human being is. And so, overwhelm, wonderful. You want to find when overwhelm is happening so you can call your energy in. And there's not really an in because we're particles dancing here. There's more space than there are particles, but there's an area of energetics of the display of this person, including the chakras, including the thoughts, the personality, the sound of the voice, that resides as us, the person that we are. So we want to call all that energy in, and that changes everything because everything's effortless when it's in. Because we're already hearing the universe, we're already with the universe, we're already seeing when there's overwhelm. Where do we see it? We see it inside. It has to pass through perception, which is here in us as us. So if it's already inside, it's effortless. There's no action of going out, except for when there is, because the human collective up until now is still going out there, but we can then find it. Ah, come on home. Come on home, energy. Land here a little. And this is saying a lot in a few sentences, but I hope it makes some sense.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. And I was also, as you said, that I think that's going to help so many people. And the idea of have to versus get to, um,
Yes.
especially in terms of just to link back to ovulation, the feeling of um, kind of like what we're doing in the world and what that actually is, and how many of us are in kind of work that feels like a have to. And then I imagine that's quite heavy at ovulation in a time when we are looking at the external a bit more. Um,
Well, I think it comes down to being naturally you. If something's not right, stop it. Trust.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
know you have,
yeah,
right? Giving yourself that freedom. And maybe it's not looking so secure in some ways, but you can get adjusted to that. Like I've been working, doing workshops, right? Groups with Transform Awake groups, um, workshops, mentoring, 25, 35 years. Um, and I moved to Croatia for a while and I rented my apartment. And it was the first time that I had money coming in regularly. It was a unique experience for me. I have money coming in regularly, but I never know the amount and I never know for sure. But I've gotten used to that and I trust it, and then it just comes. It just keeps happening. So much so that I trust it. But with that, I don't have a boss, except for Source. And me can be bossy. Get over there, Canela. Okay. I sometimes have fun with that. Um, but yeah, people invite me like this, the podcast, and I'm doing a workshop tomorrow on supporting people to respond to the holiday situation. Um, and yeah, meditations, breakthrough meditation is available on my website. Breakthrough betrayal, because there's so much betrayal to what doesn't feel natural. But every single person, especially women, because we're already geared that way to hear the more natural aspect of what's at play here compared to, mostly, like you can't really say that, but because we've shown up in the woman form, we'll be treated that way, and most of the conditioning will come in as what a baby girl would receive. And so then we each get to respond however we do to that. But we're all a mix of the masculine and the feminine. But because showing up in the woman's body um, will be taught in these ways if we're in society at all. If we're not in society, then maybe there's other things that can happen. But I can't speak to that because I was brought into society with a twin brother. So very close um, understanding that I was treated completely differently than my twin brother, and I didn't understand that. Neither did he, because we felt the same.
yeah.
Like, there was different rules completely. So it was really highlighted in my life, and then now that's turned out to be a support. So because I can see things very easily in this regard. Did I go off there? Did I answer your
Oh,
question?
that's great. Yeah, I was going to say that your sessions are really excellent, and them being online has been a huge help because of the
Mm.
distance.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, highly recommend. And I was thinking about menstrual pain. I feel like that's really coming into the mainstream conversation when I think about the focus at the moment. It's more so on the pain, which is great to have it, always.
Show up so we can address it. Yes.
Yeah. So what would you say, if I shared that I have menstrual pain right now, what would you invite?
I would say where?
Mhm.
Where is the pain in the interior? Because we can say, I feel pain. That means there's an active energy that you've named pain inside. And so we can then look inside, oh, hello, pain energy, where are you? And pain's usually pretty easy to find. But it could be anywhere. It's unique to the person where the pain might be, so we can't make a generalization, except for there'll be corresponding energy. Then once the energy is found, to relax open to it, to surrender to it. It doesn't make more pain. It just accepts what the truth is, what's actually happening in the energetics. But when you listen to it and just let it show itself to you with your awareness floating with it, not focused, no need to focus. And then you can rename it so it's easier to be with by this description. Is it sharp? Is it purple? How big is it? And then you can say, oh, watermelon shaped pain or watermelon shaped energy. You want to let go of some of the words so it's easier for you to be with the energy and just let yourself experience it totally. And it's not to get rid of it, because then you get to be with the get rid of it energy, right? Of course, we want to understand it, but pain is always, everything is an opportunity if it's uncomfortable or you don't like it, and if it repeats, especially. It's always love calling. And that's what I do. I sit beside people and support them and utilize my energy of having done this myself. I'm not talking from anything other than a direct experience. You can read my book, From Rape to Freedom. It's not about uh, blame, except for where the energy of blame has come in inside the system, this part of creation. But we can minimize the haunting effect of any kind of sexual abuse or the shame of menstrual cycle, of not wanting to perhaps have children, or wanting to have children and not finding our way to that. Right? It's an individual person, but you are that. Each person is that. And so game on. It's the perfect setup. And my book goes through how to do that and what do I mean by energy, all this different stuff you can find again. It's online. I think you have that book, right?
Yeah, I have both books.
Yeah,
I read them a lot. Yeah, reading um Rape to Freedom, which I was told not to tell that version, that
that
title.
version. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
two titles because From Rape to Freedom can be blunt to be if you're on the tube or something
Yeah.
to be holding that book. Um, so I've also published it as I Was Told Not to Tell,
Mm.
so people can be a little more incognito if they wish. But both of it, go ahead, Theo. You were going to say your experience of the book.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking about how I was surprised. I was just reading it yesterday and today that I was told not to tell you have another book. But they're quite distinct, I think, the energy invitation, because it's for me it felt I wasn't reminded of a capital T trauma, you could say, of like, oh, this big event happened in my life. It was more um I was feeling into things that I didn't want to do that I forced myself to do.
Yeah,
And
that's a
that was,
capital T.
yeah,
And I go into that in that book too. It's really important that it's up to the person what it is,
right, right.
right? Because being called stupid all your life, that's very
Yeah.
traumatic to one person. Another person might not affect them at all. It might not even be part, you know, of they don't even hear it. Just it means nothing. Like, oh, there's, a clock over there. So it depends on the person what went in some way of disturbance.
Okay, well, um, yeah,
And then of course violence too. Yes, yes.
yeah, it's a violence, it's a learned violence from the outside, but then it ends up from myself to myself up
Yes.
until now.
Yeah.
But I was sitting with that and I was just surprised at just how present it is, this us and them. within me, because what you invite is not just to look at the feeling, but the one who doesn't want to feel it, and also the parts that are resisting but pushing as well. And I think often I'm just up until now, I'm just seeing one side, and that's when I get really stuck and I maybe reach out to you or reach for the book. And then this support to be aware of what's really going on, like the full picture of it. And it was really up for me. And I was just, it's such a tender invitation and it's so gentle what you offer. That
Mm,
book is so, it feels like the safest, warmest hug to those parts that are just
mm,
not quite letting go and not quite feeling what's going on. And
beautiful.
yeah, I was just saying, like,
Thank you. A beautiful, warm, safe hug. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Well, like the
yeah,
womb is supposed to be,
yes, yeah,
right? And I think not that I'm everybody's mother, tall. You would not. Well,
a
my
little
sons
bit.
are pretty happy, but
Well,
but we are the womb for ourselves.
yeah,
So what you're actually feeling is your own safety. I can't go over there and give you
yeah,
that, but you can find it and feel it and acknowledge it yourself. And that's what I like to help people grow, to grow their brilliance, their magnificence, their safety, their honoring of the beauty and magnificence of who they are, and falling open, falling back into their own majesty of what they're here to be, do, and feel and create. You know, I
yeah,
love what I do. I love that you know, I'm a very, very sensitive person. I remember I went and had a massage with somebody, and she said, "How in the world have you survived?" Because she could feel the depth of the openness. But that's the beauty, is that I can actually share this safe feeling. People hear it in my voice, that I've given myself. Somehow, some way, I can share that without getting involved in anybody else's energy. And if that gets happened, I know how to become clear newly, which is a lot, as you know, of what I do is supporting people to untangle when they've gotten all tangled up with other people's energies, how to come more clearly home to who they are and what they've been given.
yeah, yeah, it's so beautiful. What I find is there's a bit of a bridge sometimes with understanding what you do, and because I meet so many people that I just think you would really benefit, and you would really benefit.
Yeah,
And I think about, you know, how can I convey that? Um, but it's like the felt sense of it. I think for the right people, it will just.
yeah. And that's where I thank you for this like podcast, to because people can hear this and they can even listen to this again. And just hearing our voices talking about this openly, first off, I mean, that is so precious and wonderful and needed. We're natural, natural part of Mama Nature. We don't look to, uh, like what I said earlier, like a dog in heat, and call the dog bad because it's him, he or she is in heat. Well, I suppose he could be. Anyway, that you can see it gets mixed up for me. What's what? But we're natural, but yet we've been taught so much shame and blame for who we are, as if we're supposed to be some other way. We can't be some other way. And I think the main energy around the menstrual cycle for people to look inside for is shame, where over time, over in the history, women have been shunned for such a natural, incredible, honorable happening as their moon time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was going to ask about the shame because I know some women who are really disgusted with the blood.
Yes,
Um,
that's why I did the
y-
befriending your blood,
yes, it's
because
a great
people were like
title.
totally, oh, what are you? You know, and I'm like, okay. And it was good. The people who came to the talk really were active, lots of questions, very much enjoyed and felt so much more at ease with themselves and hopefully too trusting, inviting rather than hope. Hope's got a little begging to it. So trusting and inviting that people feel a little more comfortable with themselves and have maybe found, and I don't like to start because we're all incredibly wise. I like to say from wherever you are that you deepen into more feeling wonderful and excellent about this wonderful person that you are.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess a lot of things about the blood, like the sight of it and the fact that it comes out of the vagina. And I feel like,
As we all do, unless we're test tube babies. Hello, people.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's an honor. It's so natural. It's so magnificent. What an altar. Mm,
yeah, and it's not because it's blood, really, it's because it comes out of a woman because blood from, the war, like what violence is on in
yeah.
so many movies and everything, and it's so normal to watch that. Whereas when have you ever seen menstruation in a film? I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever really seen it. Um,
No.
and
No.
I was actually looking at the period products in the store, and for the first time, there's a product with just a drop of blood, and it looks like a realistic drop of blood. And all the rest of them are like rainbow colors and everything. Have blood.
Yeah.
It's
And
just not.
speaking of that, I would like to say that I looked for natural um, support in that way because, to be honest, our plumbing in our house was getting stuck, wasn't working, and it turned out that it was old pipes that had, because it was an older, they were just clay, but they had cracked and tree roots had gotten through the pipes when they all dug it all up. When they pulled it out, in the tree roots were all these tampons, string, you know, and I was the only woman of the house, and everybody turned around and looked at me. I'm like, oh my God, and then of course I realized, it's not the greatest thing, whether it's in the garbage pail or in the toilet, um, or pads, right? It's like diapers. These are so not usually biodegradable. What I found was as I tried the keeper, found the menstrual cup, found all these different ways and explored them all. And the one that I found the most supportive is the natural sea sponge. Completely sustainable. They grow them. Loofah sponges. You need to find the ones that actually, as an artist, it's funny, you probably have some. They have them for sponges for doing painting or sponges for painting the wall and making a sponging effect. But you look for the small ones or you can cut them. It needs to be small enough pores in the loofah. Uh, but once they're wet, the sea sponge, they're not really because it's not the scratchy ones. Um, and then you just use a little bit of toilet paper because toilet paper is biodegradable. I use bamboo toilet paper, and you squeeze it out, right? And so there, people don't like to do that because then they're touching their blood. Well, you just when it's full, it's so natural you can't even feel it. So it goes to the contours of the body, which is the only part that you need to, pay some attention. That okay, right? I'm in my moon time, so I might need to go and squeeze out the sponge, rinse it out, and put it back in, and then keep it clear with the grapefruit seed extract, which is complete. It's a bacteria side, natural, and natural for inside the body. To use that to cleanse it, once a day, but through the day it's fine. So I recommend that highly if the people get accustomed to use a sea sponge. It's so much more comfortable, and when it feels like it's done, it's completely biodegradable.
Is that kind of like using it as a pad, as a
No,
line.
using it as a like a tampon. You
Like,
actually get it wet and then it's just slide it inside, and it
okay.
contours to your inner yeah, shape. It's perfect,
Oh, yeah,
and it's absorbent. Yeah,
yeah, that's really lovely to the environment. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that's partly why I did that talk too, because when I shared it with people, hey, this is the best, it's biodegradable. Let's not keep adding to the landfills and stuff. Uh, panty liners. Not only the vagina doesn't get to breathe, I mean, plastic there is just not a good idea, really. Uh, you know, a little bit of toilet paper is more natural. It's easy if you need to use a panty liner, or you can use a cotton cloth. They have lots of that stuff, organic cotton, um, or organic bamboo, of course, even better. There's lots more products now available now.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, that's when I was sharing people about the sponge, they would go, "Ooh, but you have to squeeze it out yourself. Then doesn't your hand get all bloody?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you squeeze it out in the toilet. Uh, it's okay. You go and wash your hands. Wipe your hands off with some toilet paper before coming if you're in a public bathroom. It's really not hard to do."
Mhm. Yeah, you can always wash your hands. It's a
Yeah.
powerful thing to remember. Um, yeah, I was just wondering what you would say about um, the thought of, because I often think about how something that's kind of missing up until now is this connection between the younger generation and the older generation of women. It feels like men are taught, well, boys are taught to look up to men, but young women are also taught to look up to men in the society. So we
Mhm.
don't really have as such this like bond and passing down the wisdom, and there's so much to the menstrual cycle and menopause and pregnancy, and it's completely unique to the experience of women. What would you say about this connection between the generations? How can it be supportive, and how can you actually seek out supportive connections because they might not always be there?
Um, I forget I'm a different generation, so
You
I
get
don't really.
a very young energy, Canela.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm about 14. Maybe I
Yeah,
just got my period.
that's why you're so supportive as well. That's
What's
why
that?
that's part of why I think you're so supportive. Like you have a
Well, yes, when my sons came in, see, I don't have because I don't have a generational thing about somebody being young and somebody being older, somebody being in the middle, because especially around spirituality. When my sons came in and, you know, started speaking, and I, of course, did not uh, say it was ridiculous when they saw things from other dimensions. In fact, they were a resource. We were a resource to each other. I was able to say, hey, I'm just looking at this. What do you see? And then they would give me whatever it is they saw. Or they would just share things with me that obviously I didn't teach them. It was already there. Their abilities were with them when they were born. And because I didn't stand in the way of that, in fact, I supported them by sharing what was happening with me sometimes, right, in real ways, then they also allowed more of that of themselves. Um, but what I found was at first I thought they were profoundly way more intelligent and able than I am. But I realized no, it's not. And it was unique. They were totally different, even though they were both boys. They were completely different. Uh, you know, so in their abilities, there was no comparing their, say, their more psychic, uh, third eye, knowing, seeing, this sort of thing. Um, and so I realized we're each given our unique space of that. So I don't see someone's abilities as less than or more than. I support them to open from where they are to more. right? Like I don't like it when, I honestly don't like it so much, and I will give feedback when I'm in a workshop or I hear someone saying, well, when you start this, you know, or, as if people don't know. I mean, today, I mean, there are a lot of people who don't know, but assuming they're less than whoever the speaker is, we are all the same. We are all given an equal part of creation in being human. Creation gets to be this human that you are. So the more we lean open to creation being what's here, and all of the way that we think, our talents, our gifts, everything already is creation. It's already happened. It came with you. You are the package. It's already here. And we're just opening up to all these gifts of who we are. The present, right? It's a present. Presence within.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
You're welcome. You're
wonderful.
welcome. It's one of the things I don't see the, you know, I had my children go to a non-coercive schools. They weren't forced to go to classes, forced to do homework. And one of the things that we openly spoke about is ageisms. Because everybody, the principal, the teachers, the parents, it was parent participation. Uh, there were no grades. There's no hierarchy. And every person's voice counted
Mm, that's
to a
beautiful.
certain degree, right? There were still some stuff because everybody was, most people were still coming from the old paradigm, teaching, conditioning, and finding their way newly in that. But I was very thankful to have found that school for them, because then I felt like more like a team of being with them instead of having to undo the schooling every night, the traditional schooling.
Mm. Yeah, ageism is it really bothers me as well, having
Yeah.
grown up with like a respect for older people in general and feeling like it's kind of missing in the society, very much missing. And also just the idea even that I would somehow be, especially as a woman, the teaching that the conditioning of being like peaking when you're 25 or so.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
I
No
don't want
way.
to be peaking.
No, I'm still peaking.
You're still peaking.
I'm still going, oh my God, did you see that? There's miracles happening all around. Like, I can't believe like how many miracles every day can happen. There's miracles happening in everyone's life, whether they see it or they don't. But when it becomes sort of first place, it's just, you're being taken care of.
Hmm.
Worrying is a waste of time, but we need to learn, okay, if not worried, what? How do we change that? That's right. That's what I support people to waste the energy on worry, but wonderful that there's worry happening. As soon as you catch it, then there's an opportunity. Call that energy home. Worrying about stuff out there only makes it worse. It puts the heaviness on whatever it is, whether it's your filling up of your workshop or new clients or whatever it is. It puts a weight on it, makes it harder for people to find.
Hmm.
But caring is a wonderful, worry just shows that you care about something. You care about it very much. But it's not to keep on with that way. Instead, bring it in, come home to the caring, and then feel how much you care.
Yeah. Okay, amazing.
Yeah, I care about more and more women falling open to the incredible potential of who they are and what they're here as creation. Like, we have a leg up, I feel, because we're already in tune with ourselves in an emotionality. Not that men are not, it's varying degrees. I definitely find more and more men are more emotionally available, more um, whatever, because we're evolving together. We're in this together. However, being born in a woman's body has its perks and its powers, its knowing. It's wisdom that's so natural and so we're ripe with it. And so, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's so great to hear
Yeah.
your wording of everything, and I'm really grateful we could have sat here and yeah, thank you for all of your
Ah,
story
my
today.
pleasure. Obviously, my deep pleasure and honor. Absolutely. I think people can feel that.